for all three of you, what did you learn about the team, especially when they got within two with, 321, and then you immediately ended up with a 5-point margin, or 7-point margin? What did you guys learn about yourselves holding on in spite of their onslaught there at the end? Thanks.
I'll go first, just because the experience that we've gotten throughout the season, it's just given them the confidence at the end. Times like this, we would have, been a lot more nervous, panicked a little bit, and they didn't. And they kept getting great shots. Like, we were shooting layups at the end. But just took care of the ball and only allowed them to get to the free throw line one time that whole fourth quarter, which was huge.
Go first row on the right.
Caitlin or Kelsey?
Yeah, I think just staying calm. It was a huge swing there. I think especially when Lexi kind of bobbled the pass and then got an and one, missed the free throw and came up with it, and then Kelsey scored. I think that definitely gave us some confidence and allowed us to kind of settle in and finish out the game. But I think just figuring out a way to kind of play with the lead a little bit better. We've kind of struggled with that this year, and I think at times we get a little stagnant and don't play with the same pace that we played with, especially in the first half. Like, we scored 18 and 14 in the second half, and in those 2 quarters, I thought it wasn't our best offense. Like, it just felt very kind of But I'm proud of us. Like, I thought our defense was really good. So just don't get stagnant and find a way to continue to push it and extend the lead out rather than just letting them hang around.
First row.
Caitlin, you went down earlier. Talk to us about that moment for you, and then fighting through that to get back into the game.
Yeah, I saw the replay. I look really soft. It wasn't that bad a turn, but it hurt. So sometimes you just need a second to give yourself a second. If you ever sprain your ankle, it just kind of stings for a little bit. So I was good. They're like, "You want to go in the back?" I'm like, "No, please, just take right here. Let's go. We gotta keep going. Get on with the game." But I've done it a few times, so it is what it is. You're not a real basketball player if you haven't sprained your ankle a bunch. That's when you know.
Yeah, for Coach, she started Lexi in the second half. She played most, if not all of it. Just what was she doing well?
Yeah, Katie Lou hasn't been feeling well, so she took herself out of the game at halftime. Just wanted to do what was best for the team. Just knew she couldn't perform where she needed to, and so Lexi got the call. But Lexi did a great job between her and Kelsey guarding Ryan and Gray. Just really, they had a hard time getting going. But Lexi defensively, and then like Caitlin said, had that big shot at the end, but then also was able to get it out to Caitlin or Kelsey late, and they knew to pull it out and run that clock down. So Lexi's just, she's whatever we need. Whatever the Fever needs, that's what Lexi Holt does for us.
First row.
Caitlin, do you feel like playing in these big arenas, does it give you all an advantage because you're playing in these big arenas most every night versus the team like Atlanta? Their second time this season playing in a big arena like this.
I don't think it gives us an advantage. I think we're used to it. I mean, I think if anything, it probably gives them a little fire. It's like, this is our home crowd. This is our home stadium. Like, you want to defend your home court. That's how we feel when we're at home in front of, however many 17,000, whatever it is that we hold in our stadium. But I don't think any crowd intimidates us. And honestly, you can tell they're just there for good basketball. They're almost cheering for both teams, it feels like. They're all standing up there at the end. So it's still a very intense basketball environment. But I think, we've gotten experience in those environments, and you can tell, like Christy said, we're only getting better and better. It's just continuing to play well for the entire game.
First row.
Kelsey, you had an incredible night shooting, and you got a really, really good rhythm. Just talk to us about your night, and talk to us about the importance of getting into that rhythm early.
I think for us it's about playing out tempo, and I like to play that way. And I got teammates that want to play that way. So for me, it's about obviously being confident in my play, but playing alongside of my teammates and kind of letting that chemistry flow. And I think when I find my spots and utilize my team to find those spots, I look decent. So.
Go back row on the right.
For Kelsey and for Coach, what do you think was more damaging early in the game, the three-pointers or your points in the paint?
That was that was our goal, to establish, get those paint touches. Anytime you've got a Leah Boston, Alyssa Smith down there, they're going to draw attention, and when they get that attention, these guys who are great shooters are left wide open. So we know we start there. And then, these guys are going to knock shots down. So I think we had 38 paint points in the first half. I'm not quite sure about that. 28. We only finished with 34, but still, like we kept, and then at the end, we kept getting those great looks, and we just want to finish them late, which would have been more pain points for us. But that's what we have to establish, to get these guys the wide open looks on the outside.
This question is for the coach and players. You get a win like this, how much of this win does it give you a continued edge, especially when you start looking at the standings in the WNBA?
I think that it's not about edge. I think in our locker room, even the coach just talked about it. We focus from game to game. But we're not crazy. Playoffs is like a big deal for all of us. And I think we try to stay focused on what's right. And I think the main thing is game by game. But I think as we get down the stretch of these games, our experience and what we've been through early is open and showing how we can be effective now. And I think that going forward, it's going to be important that we kind of stay together and stay focused just from game to game, and necessarily looking at the playoffs.
We'll go first row on the left.
Question for Caitlin. Obviously, it's easy to get caught up in all that you've accomplished, obviously, as a college player already. But what do you think about in terms of just the impact on your own game long term, if you're even thinking about that at this point?
That's a tough question. I mean, I feel like I'm only 22 years old, but I act like I'm 10, so I don't know. I feel like I'm just a kid that plays basketball and has a lot of fun. And for me, like, coming into these arenas and these environments, like, I look around and it's incredible. Like, it really is. Like, I don't show up and expect, like, these crowds. Like, sure, like, maybe you've gotten a little bit used to it, but for me, like, that's not anything that ever gets old. It really is something that's really cool, like, especially as a young girl who grew up going to games. And, as a young girl, if I would have came to a game in a building like this and seen this type of crowd, I think I would have been kind of in heaven. So for myself, I think it makes me really happy. It makes me smile. It gives me a lot of joy to just see the impact that I've been able to have, my teammates have been able to have, women's basketball players all across the country have been able to have. And I hope it continues to grow, because I feel like this league is really just, scratching the surface. There's so much that can continue to improve and continue to get better. And I hope I'm a part of that going forward, and, just being an advocate for every single person in this league, and, keep pushing this thing forward and enjoying it all at the same time and having a lot of fun.
Go third row on the left.
Caitlin, I want to ask you, obviously the first half of the season wrapped up, your rookie season. What are some things that you learned about yourself that you've taken over now into the second half of the season?
I think I understand the game a little bit better. Like, it is a lot different than college, and I think also for myself, being able to get to know my teammates and understand how they play, and then to understand how I play. Like, that's a big adjustment coming in here, and I think once we've been able to figure that out, you can really start to see us play better with one another and play off one another a little bit better. Our chemistry has improved. So I think, all of that combined is just learning from game to game, continue to improve in certain areas, little areas. And I think for myself, like, I'm really excited, because I feel like there's so many areas for me to continue to get better, and like, that's exciting as a player. It's just like, you want to get in the gym and work on those things. And I love being in the gym. Every single person on this team does, and we all feel like we can continue to get better in a lot of ways. And this team's young, has a lot of young talent, and I feel like we're just starting to put it together a little bit. So hopefully that continues to come along.
Stay third row on the left here.
Hey, Kelsey, Rashad Milligan rolling out. A couple weeks ago, I spoke to Skylar Black. She stopped by Atlanta, and we spoke. And we were talking about you and your game and everything. I just wanted to ask you about what's that relationship like with you and Skylar, and what do you think her message to you would be after a performance like tonight?
Me and Skylar grew up together, actually. We come from the city of Cincinnati, West End, and so I got a chance to meet her as I was growing up the loop. And so I just think she would tell me to stay confident, stay ready, but obviously stay low-headed about the moments and never get too high, never get too low.
Got last one on Zoom, Mike Vopel.
Yeah, thank you. This is for Kelsey, please. Kelsey, you're one of only 4 Fever players who's had a streak of 20 or more points in 4 games in a row. And you've done it twice now. I'm just wondering how you sort of just really lifted your game now and being in a playoff race. I know you're used to scoring a lot, but it's probably never meant more in a Fever uniform than it is in this stretch. And what's that like for you?
Take the moments in stride. I know for me, I just enjoy to play the game. I like the hoop, and I know the work that that I put in, the craft that I have, and I'm gonna keep utilizing my team to do that. But down the stretch, it's always gonna be the same, whether I was in the playoff stretch or playoff run or not. I'm gonna play the same way every time, so you can expect that.
All right, thank you, everybody.